All right. Well, welcome to the Fling Show. Little everyone, welcome to the show, Mr. Jeffrey Franklin.
How y'all doing?
How you doing, sir?
Doing great.
All right. Well, we have him on here for one reason, and that is because this past weekend he was in and one and only Mr. David Himmeline as well. So we're going to get down into this match because it was incredible. I cannot wait to hear from these two gentlemen because now I've heard two different stories. So I cannot wait to see how they share it with each other and see how they saw it so differently. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm great. How you guys doing?
Doing amazing.
How's it
Doing
going,
great.
Jeff? What you got there, man?
Doing great.
Oh, look at that.
Bam, baby.
The BAM.
I'm
We're
not
gonna
going to
make
say
a
what I
belt
said
buckle
earlier,
on
but
it so he can wear it. May have to take a picture and put it on the shirt for him.
hey, we talked.
Had to
we
bring
talked-
show it off one more time.
Thanks for bringing it. Yeah, thanks for bringing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Nate,
Thank you
showed
so
that.
much
Way to
for
go,
bringing
Nate.
that trophy.
Beautiful trophy, Nate. Way to go, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we talked about that trophy last night in a mini segment we call Trophies Matter because
Trophies.
they do
Trophies
matter.
do matter sometimes.
Yeah, and I thought about it a lot. You know how much that meant to you. You know, catching fire and you know taking over the match basically because it basically turned into a match play between me and you.
For sure.
After I brain farted on that one hole, and then it was you were on, and you just took it from there.
Man.
Let's go over. Let's talk about RP because let's talk
Man,
about
RP
the
was
very
the
first of
first
RP.
one we had, I think.
What went down the first three holes?
For you,
I think it takes a kind of a cut roll and back up to that speed. But it was still pretty good long ball.
It was about a 40-foot putt, and I smashed it, and then y'all were pretty close too, so I think we all birdied that hole too.
Yeah.
And then I think we all put it within, well, I think I was the only one out on hole 3. I was out like 14 feet. Y'all
group turkey birdie, and I've never seen it with a 4-man card. Yeah, it was on, and then I think you got the long one. No.
Well, I passed the basket by 450 feet.
That's right. He blows past the 420-foot hole, and leaves himself like a 45-footer. It was longer, way longer than I thought it was going to be.
I was going to do a hydrant. I was like, you know what? Just throw straight at the basket. I threw straight at the basket and it was way too small.
Man, you have got some distance, man. And I always knew that you could throw it far, but you really proved it out there, especially when you got the Paramount on hole 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's hole 3. The uphill.
Hole 4.
I'm thinking 3 because it was 4.
3 was the one you
This is
messed
the
up on.
long downhill now. The one you threw it into the soccer field.
Yeah, that's hole 4.
That's 4 now. So I guess I don't know how it works out, but it's the long uphill, and it plays really grueling for me. It's hard for me to get it up there anymore.
Practically left
Jeff
handed.
blows by that one 20 feet. You know, it was a pretty incredible day all around. Tell them about hole 2.
I figured out how to actually get my body
refresh your camera. Kimmy, refresh your camera.
Let's go ahead and just bring back all of Terramont. So after you get a 7 down at River Plantation, go into Terramont. I'm still 4 strokes back. There's no way I'm catching you is in my mind. And then you got Joey. You got Joey wanting to drop out.
All right. This is where I have a question for you both when you get there.
We're gonna preface your story with the story that I told last night. So Joey's up there talking about quitting, and I'm just trying to talk him into playing because I enjoy playing with Joey. And I just wanted him to be there, and what did he say, Jeffrey? He said, nothing's gonna change, the order will stay the same. And at the end of the day, it's going to be the same people. And basically, without saying it, he said, Hemi's going to win. I'm going to get second. Matt's going to get third. Jeffrey's going to get fourth. That's kind of what he was saying in a nutshell. Right. And I saw your eyes, and I saw you going, keep talking, Joey. I think it lit a fire under you. That's the impression I got. And I was saying, man, shut up, Joey. We don't need any fuel here, Let's keep this friendly. But anyway, he did stick around. I'm glad he did. So
but that was at River Plantation when he was saying that?
No, this was at the beginning of Terramont. We're on hole 1.
Because he's in 4th place. It was me and Matt that was tied at Terramont.
Yeah, that was just my memory of it. I thought you were in 4th at Terramont, but no, you had jumped up. Yeah, you had jumped up. Yeah, you had jumped up after RP.
But Matt was still 1 stroke, or we were tied. Me and Matt was still tied, and we were both 4 strokes off of you.
That's right. Because I had gained 2 strokes.
So Joey calls me before we get to Terramont. Joey's like, hey, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to quit. I'm going home. My back hurts. I don't want to finish. There's no way I'm going to win this. Y'all are already too far ahead of us. I'm just going to go. And I was like, no, Joey. I ain't seen you in 3 to 4 months. You ain't played with us forever. And now you're here. Now you just want to leave me after I finally get on your card? Are you serious right now? I need you to play, man. Please be there. I need you to be with me. And he's like, man, I don't think I'm coming. And then we hang up the phone and he shows up and I was like, oh, thank goodness, I was like, oh, thank you. So I go up, I give him a big old hug, and I was like, all right, man, I got to beat Matt for 2nd place because there's no way I'm beating him. And he's like, Jeff, you can come back 4 strokes in 9 holes. And I was like, really, Joey? There's no way. There's no way. With him, he's on fire today. There's no way I'm going to come back 4 strokes. So we get the hole 1. We all throw. I park the hole. You park the hole. 5 feet. And then you got Joey and you got Matt that didn't park it and got a 3. So I got Matt by 1 stroke going into hole 2. I got 2nd place sewed up because we got 8 holes left. There's no way we can. The course is pretty simple. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. There's some trees you can mess up on, especially on hole 2.
Yeah.
If you don't stay in the fairway, you're pretty much screwed on hole 2. But so I throw my shot, you throw your shot straight to fairway. I end up 30 feet in the woods.
Yeah, I played old man golf on that hole.
Man, so I get to my lie and I have no way out. There's absolutely a wall in front of me of trees. And Joey looks over and he's like, you got to get your 3, Jeff. You got to get your 3. You got to catch him. You still got 4 strokes to catch. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting out of here. And he's just like, Jeff, you're going to get your 3. You got to get it. And I'm just thinking, there's no way. Let me toss out, get my 4, move on, And I just kind of think about it. I'm like, you know what? There's one tiny gap up there in them trees. And if I throw my roller through there, maybe I can get up to the basket and have a putt. And so somehow, some way I hit that gap. And somehow I hit another tree and went into the woods, 45 feet out into the woods.
Drained it.
through the trees, drained it.
Yeah, well,
was like-
that part doesn't surprise me at all because I've seen you do that so many times with that zone. I mean, it's just like it's just what you do. You hit
And
putt.
everybody knows I put with glow jawbreaker zones, so it's a stable disc. You got to put a little ante on it to make them go in. I mean, but it's just my style, how I like it, and that's what I put with.
Let me talk about that real quick because I used to putt with a Bulldog, and actually some of my best rounds ever were with the Bulldog. It's a super overstable putter at putter speed. I mean, you can't throw it off a box, you know, and it's going to be stable like a driver. But when you're putting with it, it's beefy. And my most consistent rounds were with that putter, and my best rated rounds were with that putter. There's something about throwing a super stable putter that stabilizes the whole situation, makes you more accurate, I think.
Right. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's a straighter way, and I have, if I throw straight at the basket with my zone on an ante, I know it's going to come back and hit straight center.
Refresh, Hemi, refresh.
How do you feel about comebackers? Do you have any nerves when it comes to it? Because you seem pretty fearless to me.
My putting, I have really no fears about putting. Even if I'm putting at water, if I'm putting OB, it really doesn't faze me. As long as I have in my mind, I know I'm going to hit metal regardless. I have to hit metal, and it's just a confidence. It's all about the confidence. Mm-hmm. So my putting, I practice every day in the yard, at least 30 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. And my putting is pretty on.
Yeah, it's special. It's you're one of the better putters in the Houston area, you and Freddie. That you can really tell that the work.
Circle one, circle two, nothing really phases me. I just have the confidence. I know I'm gonna make that putt, so I make it happen.
Yep. So we move on, and I think, is it hole 3 that happens next?
We get the hole 3.
Give me just a second, because that sun's really bad behind us.
Yeah. You look good there. Just switch places with. Oh, there you go. Switch with Jeffrey there. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna have to do is turn us around because the sun is just. Yeah.
Sun's going down.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sun's going down. Just turn the chair around. Keep talking, Hemi, so it's on you.
Well, I think 3 was the meltdown hole for me.
Hole 3. We get the hole 3, and I think you have the box.
Yeah, I still have the box.
You throw and you hit the tree and it bounces you straight into the woods.
To the right.
And I kind of lick my chops.
You're like, okay, good.
I got 4 strokes to gain on you, and I'm thinking, all right, Jeff, all you have to do is hit this little tiny gap with a flick that I don't have.
You cured it.
I'm not a very good flicker, but I've been working on it since my elbow has been hurt. I've been working on a flick. That way I have it. My elbow was hurting on my backhands, so my flicking, it didn't hurt at all. So yeah. I actually did a couple weeks in there where I was just flicking. Forehand, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But so I've been working on it. So I hit the gap perfectly, got up to the hill about 45 feet from the basket.
Yep.
And
a little bit short, looking up.
I go up and we gotta wait on you. And I'm thinking you're just gonna toss right out. You're gonna throw it to the basket and get your 4, move on, take one stroke, and then you wanted to sit there and tomahawk. And the first tomahawk, I thought you were going to get through, and it hit this little iron leaf and shot you straight down. And I was like, ouch. I was thinking in my mind, like, ooh, maybe I can get a couple more strokes.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking on the next one when you got up to it, because you're still right there in the woods, and I was thinking, man, he's just gonna toss out and throw up and get his 5. And then you wanted to tomahawk again.
Yeah. Well, this time I threw it was more of a kind of a high flick ante shot.
Okay.
With a putter.
But when
the first one, I was just trying balls to the wall, just trying to rip it through. The second one, I had an actual line.
Okay.
And I was trying to ante one up there up the hill, but
it worked great until it hit on an angle and then it rolled all the way back down.
I know. I know. It's the thing I remember most about the day.
Oh my goodness. And I was just thinking, he's about to take a 5 and I have a birdie putt. And I'm like, do you want 2 strokes or do you want 3 strokes? Because then all I have to do is get one more stroke on you to tie you. Yeah. And so I'm like, I have to make this putt. You have to make this putt. And I get up there and I'm so confident and I'm like, I'm draining it. And I just drain it.
It was a great putt, but it's like when you're looking uphill, you can go for it because it's not going to be 10 feet past it when you miss, Exactly. So you were actually in the perfect spot to go for a putt.
Right.
Because people that haven't played hole 3 now, it's elevated. You're going way up a hill. It's sitting on the side of a hill, and it's a cool design. I'll definitely hit the different gap next time I play. Hey, and I was going to challenge you to $120 match. Woo! Where I get a 4-stroke lead. But that's the only way, not straight up one-on-one, but no.
Man, you're good enough you can beat me one-on-one. What are you talking about?
Well, it wasn't my round,
all about.
But I was happy to finish out.
You might have a bad day.
I was happy to finish out with 2 birdies, and the last hole was an ace run. So if you would have taken a 3 and I aced it, we would have tied. So there was a chance at the end, but I was happy with. There's a couple of things. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that where you were the reason that you lost. I mean, you took it for sure, and everything. It was kind of like that. It reminds me of that Buffalo Bills Houston Oilers game. Let me fix my. Chris, you know what I'm talking about? The Bills came back from like 31 point, or the
It's already painful enough. Please don't bring that up again. You talked about we were in Buffalo. We had Warren Moon was out. We had to back
31 points or something like that in the fourth quarter.
Back up in, and it was awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. But that's kind of what I went through. And lately, I've been taking this attitude of just, just be happy no matter what. No matter what, just be happy, and you can be in that frame of mind. So going away from that tournament was a real challenge because it's hard to be happy when you screw up like that. And then as the week went on, and I saw first of all the trophy. And then the story about you saying I'm taking that trophy. I love this kind of stuff, you know? And so I just kind of jumped into that vibe and enjoyed it for you, really, to me, it's a special, it will always be a special tournament because of that comeback.
Yes.
And because
I felt so bad because I really thought you had it. And then when I felt like I could take it away, I was like, I'm going to take it away because I want that trophy.
Yeah.
All right, well, I do have a question from one of our viewers, somebody we know very well, Mr. Chase Graggart asked, what's going on in your mind when you're battling and competing for the win? What's your motivation? Obviously it's probably dependent upon the situation, but do you kind of go into things with the motivation of winning? What is it?
So the whole thing I do, I just put myself in the mind of just playing my game and not worrying about nobody else, what they're doing, what they got on a hole. I want to get, and especially a 9-hole course, I want to birdie every hole. So my expectations probably are different than everybody else's on the hole. I'm trying to park that hole or ace that hole no matter what. So I don't know, in competition wise, when I'm trying to gain strokes, I'm going for everything. I'm fearless. I'm parking everything. I'm trying to, and then on my putts, it's all about my confidence, and I'm gonna make that putt. I'm trying to get them strokes. You know?
We had another comment from one of our viewers also. I hate to put this last name in the back of our shirt. Elizabeth Dieter Franklin Shotwell says that he's not joking either. He does putt every day. So do you, as well as, I don't know if you got to hear what Mikey does, he likes to putt in the rain. He likes to play in all kinds of conditions. Do you find yourself also putting yourself out there like that?
I hate the rain. I'd rather not putt in the rain. Then you get wet hands, and wet hands does not go good with discs.
Yeah, that's.
But we have the issue where we play in tournaments that every time we have a tournament, we get rained out. But we don't get rained out. We have to play in that rain. So then we came up with the perceptive of we got some chalk, and chalk works amazing, like Nico LaCastro.
Does it work in the rain?
It works in the rain. As long as you keep it dry, you put it in a little sack, and you keep that shut, and no rain hits it, as long as you have your umbrellas. And you put that powder, and I swear it's the best grip ever. You just you grip it and rip it. You're not going to take, your whole 30 seconds. You're going to get up there and you're going to rip it so you don't have any rainwater hitting your discs, Well,
that's the other memory and kind of the thing that I take away from this tournament. It was kind of like you were a prize fighter at the end of the day. He's got chalk all over his hands and his shorts, and he's battling it out.
My hands sweat a lot when I'm playing. I don't know if it's nervousness or whatever it is, but I just make sure my hands are dry when I'm throwing a disc. Make sure if I have to use a chalk, I use it, and it's just to make sure my hands don't slip off that disc when I throw it.
All right, we have another statement now. You have to answer this question. This is more of a question. So you don't like playing in the rain. What else do you not like playing in?
I don't like the cold.
Oh, you're correct. So, like we had somebody on before. I forgot the gentleman's name, but he had said that he knew before he even got to the tournament that he had beaten 3/4 of the field. Why, Hemi? Because they don't like playing in the rain and they don't like playing in the cold.
Yeah.
So he already knew going. He's like, I want to go now because I already know those people are already out of it.
You talking about Chris Sprague?
Yeah.
So we went, me and Nate, Nathan. So we went and played World Doubles, and it came down a monsoon on us, and we shot the hot round that round. Out of every amateur, advanced player, we shot the hottest round in a monsoon. And pretty much is because, he had a sack in his little hoodie where he put the chalk bags, and we'd have them in there, and then we have our umbrella, and we were huddled together the whole time playing doubles in this monsoon, and we were literally this close together to each other, and we played the best ever in a monsoon. It was amazing, but we literally had to work together the whole entire time.
So much work. It's so much work. I like Mikey's method better. Did you happen to hear what Mikey does?
No.
He claims, and he's into plastics. He used to sell longboard wheels, and so he knows about the polymers and the qualities of plastic. And he claims that discs will repel, will soak in water to a certain extent, and then when they fill up kind of like a sponge, then they start repelling water. And he said that at that point, he said, this is why Freddie plays so good in the rain, because he doesn't dry them off. He lets them get to that point. And he said, and this is Mikey, you have to ask him, he claims that at that point they become grippy, almost as grippy or maybe grippier than when they're dry. I've never let them get that wet for that long just to experiment with it, but I'd like to think it's true. I'm going to try it next time.
Well, he does say that he practices in the rain. Like, he really likes to go out there when it rains, and he likes to throw those putts. So,
it's smart to do. I mean, we do play half our tournaments in bad weather.
Yeah, especially down here.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, we had beautiful weather on Saturday. It was
amazing.
Unbelievable. It was like the best And it was so beautiful that we forgot to even really talk about it. Usually at this time of year, we're like, man, it's so great. But we just took it for granted and just enjoyed it. And it was
amazing.
amazing.
All right, I got another question from our viewer, Jeff.
Okay.
If given the opportunity, would you go on tour? And if so, who would be your dream sponsor?
Besides Lucky Ace.
So my dream sponsor would be Innova. You already know. But the only issue with that is I put with Zones. So how would I change that?
Pig.
So it doesn't work. I've tried it, and Zones is so much better. But I mean, Discraft is good too. I wouldn't hate that. I would have to change probably most of my drivers, my destroyers, but even with the prototype Kong and stuff like that, Discraft is a good choice. So now going on tour, I do have a family, so it's kind of a hard situation, and then I have a full-time job. I got to support my family. So going on tour, the only way you can really go on tour with something like that is get a really, really good sponsorship to pay for your stuff, and then be able to still pay for your home and everything, but that's kind of hard thing to do. It's kind of hard to go on tour, especially when you already have a life going on.
I think we were just talking in a hypothetical world where that wasn't going to be an issue. It could be like the LeBron James or the Tiger Woods,
I would definitely
where you could pick your sponsor and say, hey,
and take my kids with me.
Definitely, that would be the way to go right there.
That's the dream job.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
Sell the house, even. That's what I would do.
For sure.
I always like to tell a quick story. The first time I ever
bag.
played with this guy right here, believe it or not, I don't know if you remember it. It was at McDade, and you got out of your truck after just getting off work. And what were you wearing on your feet?
I was wearing boots.
I played some of those. I played some boot sounds with you.
Steel-toed boots, and he still shot like 7 down.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter as long as you get grip off the box. I mean, you should be fine. And them boots, I got real good grip in them boots.
Good work boots.
For sure.
That's one of the best stories ever. First time I ever met him, you're out there with boots on. I'm like, this kid, oh my goodness.
I've gotten like 8 aces with boots on, so boots are a really good thing.
So how many wins do you have in open?
So in open, that was my very first win in open.
Wow. Really?
But I mean, it wasn't sanctioned or anything, so I really can't throw it out there like that.
Refresh. Yeah. But you got 5 career wins.
I have 5 career wins. I have 2 in advance, and I think I have 3 in intermediate. But I never went to rec. I just went straight to intermediate. Played my first tournament in intermediate. I won, I think, 3 of them, and then I was like, all right, well, let me just move up to advance. And then I won 2, and then everybody's just telling me, you're a bagger. So, I just moved up to open and said, why not? Let's just make this happen and be a professional and do it this way and play against the best so I can be the best.
Did you hear us talking last night about that? I was talking about that very same thing because, we had Mace Man on. He was the one that was always, like I told you earlier.
Refresh me.
Sorry, my
you good? No worries.
So, yeah, we were talking to Mace Man and we had talked to you earlier about this before we went live. I played maybe 2 AM tournaments before I moved up, and the reason was because Mace Man was right on me all the time. Move up, and almost angry about it, And we talked about this. Me and Mace was like, I used to think he was the biggest jerk until, I realized he was pushing me. It was tough love,
Exactly.
And what happens is when you play in open. And I believe it's kind of, it just wears off on you. Not only do you get to see it and learn visually from seeing it, somebody really tearing it up. You go out there and you watch like Matt Hall and the way he works those putters, and you learn from that. But there's also kind of I think it's a cosmic osmosis. You just sort of absorb it, and that's what happened at River Plantation. I caught fire because the card caught fire. It was such a good vibe.
It was.
There was no BS going on. There was
No, we were all good. Playing to park them holes.
Everything was focused. You could tell the entire card was focused.
Right.
And that kind of thing you can't get from playing in rec or intermediate.
Right.
Not all the time. You can at
Sometimes.
times. Chris and I have seen it. We've seen it firsthand that you can have some really good matches. But you definitely have more in open. You know what I mean? Obviously.
It was especially
Move up.
The field that we had was insane.
Yeah.
In that Battle of the Nines.
Speaking of which, it's almost been a year anniversary since we had an incredible, probably one of the best, I want to say, matches we've ever had on the Fling Show, which was our advanced match play. And I wonder, that was over a year ago. Has that helped you? A, the fact that everything was filmed, and B, the competition in which you were going up against was fierce.
Yes. Mayo needs to be an open. We already know it. But his rating doesn't say it, so he's gonna do what he wants.
His game doesn't.
His game, he's amazing when he's on it, but then when he wants to show off, he kind of screws up a little bit, and that's where you see him, fall off on some tournaments. Is when he likes to show off or whatnot, or throw very far.
That round, you, Sean, Jason, in that match.
I thought I should have won that. I think I was on fire the whole entire time, and it just
you kept pushing the holes.
It drug out, and Jason finally just got it with his flick. His flick is the best flick I've seen around here.
But by far, they were the longest putts I think I'd ever seen in that last probably 11 holes that y'all had together. One of y'all were hitting something from 45 to 60.
Yes.
And even the putt that Jason hit to win it, go back,
35.
it was not close.
Right.
So that to me, I still go back and see that because the success that all of y'all seen since then is just amazing. Because that round right there, I was just like, we have got some of the best advanced open level open players around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was just an incredible match.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
You could go forever. So go back and watch it because it's on YouTube and it's definitely worth watching. Matt did a great job of editing that. And I mean to tell you, I was on the edge of my seat. We had covered 2 rounds. Him and you and I had been walking for days, and I was still excited even at the end of that match. I was excited.
I think I made like 5 or 6 ace runs on that one.
And I think they were all playing for the trophy more than anything else.
We were all playing for that trophy.
They were all playing for the Hemi Original.
Yes, we were.
Well, on that note, I've got some good ones coming up for the next MPT.
Man.
And I'm going to debut the Fling Show character, much like the Lucky Ace guy. But he's going to be featured on the next what's it called? Tour to Houston, something like that.
Houston, the Holy Rollers coming up.
Matt's got going on. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to putting some artwork into it and getting involved, involved with that. But so what's your putting routine? Like, what's your practice putting routine?
So pretty much it's wherever you want, and I do all directions. So it's just pretty much I go from, I don't really put anything in between like 10 to 15 feet. I'm pretty much out 25 to 45 feet pretty much on all my putts. I'm not really worried about them 10 footers. I'm more worried about them 25 footers and then 30 footers. So I make sure I put every wind direction around that basket for about 30 minutes a day, and I just come alive like that, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, we have another question, 2 of them. I'll get them real quick. What would be your signature disc, and what would be your advice to people just starting the game who want to become a pro?
So I'd probably bring back the Kong instead of having the Zeus.
Really?
Yeah, the Zeus, it's not the same thing as the Kong, as the prototype. That prototype flies so much farther, and I feel like it's so much better than the Zeus. I'd probably bring that prototype back and make it the same. Or I'd have my glow zones,
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Kong as well. I had 4 of those at one point, and I had bought 4 online, and I ended up throwing them all until I lost them all. But I agree, that's one of my favorite discs.
Yeah, them Jawbreakers are amazing. Even the regular Jawbreaker zones are just amazing. I don't know what to really say about them. I bought a couple of them OGs and I didn't like them. The new 2021s,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not a fan of them, but they're a little bit more stabler than the Glow Jawbreakers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to others just starting the game? You want to go pro?
Just starting the game, practice. This game is so hard. It's all about trying to get that disc exactly where you want it and consistently. And it's so hard of a game to figure out. And the only way I figured it out is just to practice and make sure what disc I'm throwing and where I want it to be. I got to make sure I know what that disc is going to do on every angle I throw it on. So that way I know what I'm going to do with it, you know.
So would you limit the disc in which you would start off with, kind of go to a 3-4, you know,
so the
solid disc?
If I was talking to a beginner, I would not throw drivers. I'd probably throw nothing but putters and mid ranges for the first, 3 months, just to figure out what you're going to do with your arm.
Did you notice how much I threw that Challenger?
Man, that Challenger is amazing for you, though.
I threw it a lot, and I used to not do that. I would kind of like go in between that and a zone. And
how many times I threw my ESP zone, though?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I agree with that 100%. Go out with your putters and your mids, and leave your drivers for if you're just now starting out. It will serve you down the line, rather than throwing big wings all the time, for sure.
But the only thing is get into a field and figure out what your discs are going to do. Figure it out. Throw on every angle. Throw at different arm speed. Throw at 40 mile an hour. Go to Simon and look at his videos. Simon Lizotte is amazing with his videos, and he's an amazing disc golfer. I don't know how he does exactly 40 mile an hour on every disc and then exactly 50 mile an hour on every disc. That's so hard to do.
Yeah. Well, another thing about Simon is he is great on social media. I mean, he is such a character that you just love him, as well as he's just, one of the best players ever. And
everything.
It's interesting though. You got this guy that's got that much skill, and he's not winning every tournament. If this was 5 years ago, that guy would be winning every tournament.
Right.
Now there's just so much talent.
Well, we have over 200,000 people in the PDGA now.
Mm-hmm. Pushing 250. We're almost at 250,000.
So
I think. So anyway.
Speaking of, before we let Jeff go, we do have to speak when he said, that you just mentioned about all these players coming up, and Simon would have been 4 years ago the best and things like that. This young man here, also we call him young because him and I are much older, has a young son that is going to be something special if he keeps up with it. I can't wait to see him, because I know that we're going to try to throw another junior match, so hopefully we'll get him in that one as well.
He's got really 2 wins now. He's got 2 wins. I just put him in Glide to Grove. He won that one, and I put him in Tom Bass, and he won that one in a 4-hole playoff in that one. So that was pretty cool to see.
Hey, let me just say that I really appreciate the way you father that kid, and the way you talk to him while he's playing, and also with Mayo. I got to say that with Mayo too, because I had the pleasure of playing with his son the other Sunday. But I really appreciate the way you guys, handle those kids and give them positive reinforcement. And
exactly. Well, they have to. If you give them negative, they're not going to like that game.
Yeah.
It's all about, you can't be, too hard on them, but you still have to be hard on them. They're kids, so you have to teach them. It's all about teaching and giving him a strong role model to look after. And he looks at me and he sees me playing and he sees me parking holes and he's like, I want to beat you, Dad. I want to beat you. And I'm like, that's never going to happen until you actually figure it out, and then you can beat me. But until then, you know, you have to practice to figure this out. And so, man, he's amazing. I couldn't imagine life without him.
Well,
we've been fortunate enough to see
great.
some young men grow up and beat their fathers. Mr. Connell Stillwagon, I used to beat him, and that don't last anymore. And then you had Montenegro, and then you've had the Bentes, and then you just go down the list of the young kids that we've gotten to see, because you and I are so old now, where they finally have stepped up and beat their dad. So I see that's what's coming. This can be what the next one for sure. Because I hope that's what Stillwagon did. Didn't Stillwagon say?
I told him I give him $100.
$100.
Every time he
motivates you with that cash.
Wow.
But he's already throwing about 250, 270. So he's going to be a reckon to be with. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat him in all these tournaments that I'm putting him in. Chris Vandergriff is doing an amazing job with putting these kids in these tournaments now. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And the what are those guys down south? The Young Guns.
The Young Guns, the Houston area for sure.
See, I tried. It's so hard to get all the way out to Zuby for that Young Guns thing for my little boy. My little boy lives all the way in Willis, so it's hard to get out there after work and then go all the way.
Hey, call Uber. I'll give him a ride. But yeah,
maybe when he gets a little older.
But that, you know, it is worth the drive. Chris and I made it not from Willis, but we drove down and covered their final, and it was definitely worth it. You know.
See, I tried to get Aiden in it on that final, and he told me that he didn't know where to put him because he hasn't been playing the whole time, and he would have to, you know, where to put him.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get into that one.
You have to put him on the top. He needs to put him on the top. Just the next person who ever sees this,
put him on top.
Don't worry about where you need to put him. You put him with the best kids are there. So
you know, the answer to that is we just need to get something going around here. You know?
Yes, that's for sure. We need to really look into it and see what we can do for all these kids, because
most definitely
we have a lot of kids on this north side that love playing this game, and there's no tournaments here.
Yeah,
we have nothing for them. And my son, every time I try to get a tournament, my son's like, Dad, am I in too? And I'm like, no, it's not for you. You know, it's only for us. And there's not a division for you. He's always sad about it too. So.
Yeah, I bet.
But ever since Chris Vandergriff, he's been putting a kids division on there, and he's been leaving spots open for him. So he's been doing a great job with that.
Good job, Griff. So is there any talk about doing worlds with Aiden?
I really want to. His mama said it's fine, so I just got to make it happen. I got to take a week off of work or 2 weeks off of work and do what I got to do to get him down there. But the only thing is, I got to make sure his grades are good.
Yeah.
If his grades ain't good, he ain't playing. That's how it is.
No pass, no play.
You heard that, Aiden.
No pass, no play.
So if you do decide to do that, we'll throw an event. You know, Northside will help you out. We'll get you some cash.
Show for sure.
Yeah. We can definitely get him.
I really love this show. I love watching it. Y'all are amazing.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know, even though I lost the fourth stroke lead with 9 holes to play, it was still one of my favorite tournaments ever, and especially because you got your first win in Open, and you know, I always love playing with you, man. I always appreciate those Jeffrey hug when we walk up and vibe that you put out. It's just special. Thank you for everything. Congrats on that trophy. It was by far the best one of that batch there, Nate. You did a good job on that one.
Hey, Rich, before we go, you want to thank anybody, any sponsors, anybody you want to say thank you, shout out to?
I want to thank Freddie Mesa for all his flippy discs that he gives to me that are perfect. I want to thank AP. I want to thank Joey. I want to thank Matt Hall. All their inspiration words and helped me through that. And especially Joey. If Joey didn't show up for that, I don't know if I would have won.
And I talked him into it.
Especially on hole 2 where he made me get that 3.
Yeah.
Like it was all about Joey, and I had Joey in my mind saying, "You have to get this 3, Jeff. You're in the woods. You have to get it, though." You know. So thank you, Joey. I really appreciate everything.
Yeah, thank you, Joey.
And Hemi, thank you for everything, and thank you for pushing me the way you did.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was a blast. It's one that I'll never forget, and I'm sure you won't either.
Yeah. I won't. I'll have this.
All right.
All right, man.
We'll
It's
see y'all.
Thank you, Hemi. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Jeff. Congrats.
all right. Till next time, guys, throw something in the air. Go play disc golf. Good job.